Let's get to Kevin Burke from HoopDoctors.com. No one saw DeMarcus Cousins acting like a 12-year-old coming, did they, Kevin?
Man, I mean, I did. I hate to say I told you so to anybody. I mean, really. I know it sounds, hindsight could be 20/20. I really saw this coming. I mean, last year when Calipari would talk to him on the sidelines, you would see his facial expressions, just in utter disgust, his body language, just like, who are you to talk to me? I'm all of 18 years old. I think I know it all.
Right, I'm the man.
Yeah, and of course that translates to the NBA. I mean, they talk to him on the sideline. His face just says, don't tell me. I know all about it. I know all about it. I don't need to hear anything from anybody. And I mean, I don't think his game even warrants the headache that he brings. I mean, I don't think his productivity is enough for, what I get as far as his attitude and things of that nature. It's definitely a risk versus reward, bigger risk. I saw it coming, and I've never been a fan of DeMarcus Cousins. Even just, attitude aside, skill level, I've never been a fan. Couple it with this, I mean, I'm all set if I'm the Kings. I don't know what to do. I would not want to be them, but they're in a tough situation right now.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing, too. We're talking to Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com, Sports 630 KIDO, KIDOAM.com, Terry Ford Show. And Kevin, when you see him last year, and that was my vibe on him, is you see him on a very good team, a successful team, a team that's winning a boatload of games, and he's still a jackass. So you're going to put him on a team that's struggling, they're terrible, they're losing night after night. So you take a kid who's doesn't have a good attitude on a winning team, and you put him on a bad team, so now your bad attitude and your immaturity mixed together, and you get a total jackass now, not just a half of one.
I don't think he's in the league in 5 years. I really don't. I don't think he's in the league. He's going to be tough to contain. I mean, man, he's going to be really tough to contain. I mean, I don't know. Again, his game was never that impressed with. Now this, I don't know what to do. I would have stayed away from him from the beginning. I really would have.
Well, Kevin, it's one thing. Like, we knew Derek Coleman was kind of a difficult pain in the butt, but Derek Coleman had mad skills. This guy doesn't have Derek Coleman skills. Not we're even close.
No, I mean, I think we spoke about this during the draft last year. You and I did, Terry. His best attribute is that he's tall. That's his best skill set. His best skill set is that he's extremely tall. That's the first thing you say. Then you got problems. Yeah, he has good feet around the basket. He has nice soft hands and whatever that means.
Right.
I mean, fine, but I mean, I don't think he's super skilled to put up with this nonsense. I really don't.
Yeah, and there are a lot of tall guys in the NBA. So that number one thing of his kind of attribute, you're really tall. Well, look at all these tall guys. So so it's but again, it's one of these things. Kevin, and I'm a firm believer of this, when I'm putting out millions of dollars, I don't care if it's a rookie salary cap, a rookie slotting, whatever. If I'm going to draft a guy in the first round, I know the NBA draft isn't like it is with the NFL, but still, when I'm paying a guy millions of dollars, whether it's only 3 years or whatever it is, and I'm going to take him in the first round, hoping he's going to be at some point a difference maker for my team, I'm not taking spoiled, immature brats. I'm just not taking them.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, you mentioned the NFL. They really got to figure that thing out, but that's neither here nor there.
Exactly.
But that's a different topic for a different guest, I guess. But, I mean, you get guaranteed money for being drafted in the lottery. Yeah, in fact, you get guaranteed money for being drafted in the first round altogether. But, you got to do your due diligence with these guys in college. You saw warning signs when he was at Kentucky. You saw it. You saw it. I mean, what would change when you add millions into the equation? That means he's going to get worse.
Right.
19 plus attitude plus millions equals disaster. I mean, you added $5 million to it. It wasn't going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember me at 19, Kevin. You'd give me millions of dollars, I'd have been a disaster. So I totally know where it's going. Kevin,
I get that now, and I'm a disaster.
There's no doubt. I'm in my 40s. I'd be a disaster with millions of dollars. Sports 630 KIDO, KIDOAM.com. Terry Ford Show, talking with our buddy Kevin Burke from HoopDoctors.com. 2 big games yesterday, and like we do in the NBA, we make too much of regular season games when really good teams play each other. Yeah. But I'm going to ask you, is there a pattern to some of this? First of all, Boston, Miami. By the way, my favorite highlight yesterday was Rajon Rondo when the Heat are trying to huddle, and he's trying to get in their huddle. It wasn't a timeout. They're just getting together on the court, and Rondo's over. Hey, guys, what's up? What are you doing? What's the word? You guys want to go get something to eat afterwards? And LeBron's pushing him out of the way, and he keeps coming back. I thought that was hilarious.
Hilarious. Rondo never backs down. I've seen Rondo almost fight with Cousins, actually, for one. Not almost fight, kind of shove him away. He shoves away guys easily a foot taller than him. He's one of the toughest guys in the league. I think he doesn't back down from anybody. That was definitely a hilarious moment. But yeah, I mean, that game, to your point, we make a lot out of nothing sometimes. But I mean, they lost 3 now to Boston. But it's not like they lost by 30 in each game. Each of those 3 games, the Heat easily could have won those. They were decided, for the most part, in the last couple of minutes of the game. I mean, if I'm Boston, I'm not gonna hang my hat too hard on the fact that we beat them 3 in a row, because you're gonna probably meet them in the playoffs. And I don't want to play the Heat in the playoffs. I really don't.
Right.
I mean, let's not put a whole lot into it. I mean, LeBron made a few free throws, and Glenn Davis missed a few free throws. The outcome is different, and then we're not even having this conversation, and then the ESPN is not talking about it, and everyone else is not talking about it. It comes down to a couple of bounces, really, that last game. You know, a couple of bounces. And Mike Miller, I never understood the infatuation with Mike Miller. Oh, he's a dead-eye shooter. I mean, he missed that shot terribly. I mean, it terribly, to tie the game in the last couple of seconds. But, if I'm the Heat, I'm not too worried. I'm really not too worried at all. You're still going to finish top 3 in the East, and the playoffs is a whole different ballgame.
Well, and with Miller, that was dead on top of the key, which is the shot you want as a three-point, sniper. You want straight on top of the key. How anybody plays basketball, whether you're good or not, you go, hey, I want to shoot from the top of the key anytime because I'm dead on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if he missed it, it was very much to the left. It wasn't even like he barely missed it. I thought he missed it terribly.
Now, and here's the thing about that play, and I get, because like you said, people buy into Mike Miller as a three-point, shooter and a specialist and all that. And that's how, for some reason, he gets all this money in the NBA, besides those goofy glasses he wears off the court. But, people are saying, well, why didn't LeBron take it or Wade or whatever? But three-point shooting, again, is not their specialty. It's more of, according to experts, Mike Miller's. So in the context of that, you can see why the Heat would run that play. And by the way, that was a heck of a pick by Dwayne Wade and a heck of a flop by Glenn Davis. But Mike Miller, I guess, if you're going to look in the direction of Mike Miller being your best three-point shooter, then you really didn't get a bad play off, even though, he execution-wise was awful.
Right, yeah, great call, poor execution. I mean, why not Eddie House, though? Eddie House has
I agree.
Made a ton more big shots in his career than Mike Miller has. I mean, not even close. I mean, the thing with Eddie House, he could not create his own shot to save his life. I mean, he looks terrified dribbling the ball. He has to be wide open. So, I mean, if you could have done some sort of, backdoor screen to free up Eddie House, I like my chances better with Eddie House shooting a wide-open three without having to dribble than I do Mike Miller shooting a wide-open three without having to put the ball on the floor. So maybe it could have – go think back to Boston. He was instrumental in that run to the championship for the Celtics a few years ago. How many big shot after big shot? The thing with House, he hits one shot a game. He has the biggest mouth on the court. I find that
and it's funny because, hey, Kevin, he doesn't even wear his jersey until like the fourth quarter. He's sitting in the stands, eating a hot dog, drinking a couple beers, and they go, "Hey, House, we need you, fourth quarter." Okay, let me go get my gear on. Remember that? What was it, 2-3 weeks ago? They just dusted him off in the fourth quarter. He came out and hit the game-winning three from the corner or whatever. It was hilarious.
Against the Thunder, and he did some, obscene gesture and got fined for him. Come on, you haven't played since. You need a break. I mean, you had one big shot, but relax.
Come on, buddy. Relax. You haven't played in 3 weeks. Go get yourself in gear a little bit. Step off. Sports 630 KIDO, KIDOAM.com. Terry Forcho. We're talking NBA with Kevin Burke from HoopDoctors.com. The other game was Orlando, LA. Which, by the way, set basketball back 30 years. It was awful, 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 awful. But I guess when we look at, the couple points of that game was Dwight Howard actually made some shots in a semi-low post type of situation. And you and I have talked about Howard. Yes, crazy athleticism. Yes, all the height, strength, jump out of the gym, dunk like a madman. But you give him the ball 5 feet from the hoop and say, hey, dude, make a move, and he's lost. But if he can continue to get better at that during the season, then at least you can hope for more consistency in the playoffs when it's important. But again, he can't make free throws for damn, so I guess that doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. I think at a certain point in each guy's career, Terry, I think they are what they are. I mean, this is Dwight's, sixth year maybe in the league. Mm-hmm. He works with Patrick Ewing on, during the off season or during the season as well on his post game. I've seen him work with Hakeem Olajuwon on his post moves. I think he is what he is. He's going to be a marginal post player. He's not going to get any better in the post than he is. I've seen incremental, or probably slight, minute, advances in his post game, but I think largely he is what he is. Similar with Rondo, I hear a lot of times when Rondo develops a jump shot,
he won't. He won't.
What do you mean?
He won't.
He develops. He played basketball his whole life. If he can't shoot now, he's gonna. You don't wake up and just become a great shooter. I think
exactly.
At that point, guys are what they are, and I think Dwight is what he is. Rondo is what he is as well.
And going back to Dwight Howard and what this does to the Magic, because they made him the franchise player, because he is so limited offensively, if he's not throwing down tomahawk dunks or follow dunks or whatever, they will never go any farther than they go in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, when your franchise player, your best player, your go-to player has no low post game and can't shoot free throws, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it really is tough. It's tough. I mean, they had when they made that trade for Arenas and Jason Richardson, I thought it was a good trade. But again, you go back to Dwight Howard. Who gets a shot? Tie game against the Boston Celtics, Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. You can't clear out and give the ball to Dwight. You cannot. For everything that you just said, you're right. But it's weird because I do think he's I'm contradicting myself. I do think he's a franchise player. I do think he's a max player. But at the same time, he can't get it done in crunch time in that situation I just painted. So where do you go? I mean, they're kind of handcuffed. We heard talks that maybe he's actually going to leave Orlando when he becomes a free agent. I don't see that personally, but, they go out and get, the Hedo Turkoglu, the old fan favorite. But, yeah, I mean, they are, if they find some way to get to a final again, they can't win the championship. They just can't. In fact, they're not going to get by the Miami Heat or Boston Celtics, I don't think.
Kevin Burke, Hoop Doctor, Sports 630 KIDO, KIDOM.com. Terry Ford Show. Okay, and in that game, I can't believe that Howard was winning the Battle of the Glass with the great Andrew Bynum, the Hall of Famer Andrew Bynum. We can't trade anybody if we've got to trade Andrew Bynum. We're not going to trade for anybody. What, Michael Jordan in his prime? Not for Andrew Bynum. Who, Dr. J in his prime? Not for Andrew Bynum. No Wilt Chamberlain, no nothing. I'll take Wilt Chamberlain now over Andrew Bynum. I think Andrew Bynum is the most overrated 7 feet of nothing in the NBA. It just slays me.
What does Andrew Bynum do well? He is taller than just about everybody else. I mean, that's it. Aside from being injury prone,
I was getting ready to say he knows how to get hurt.
He does a hell of a job. He rivals. Only Greg Oden does that. Better than. In fact, the entire Portland Trailblazer squad does that better than anybody else in the league.
No doubt.
But no, I'm not sold on Bynum. Never. He is what he is. That's what he's going to be. A 10-point, 10-rebound guy. That's it. I mean, he's tall. Yes, if you can deal him, great. I mean, but don't hold your breath on Andrew Bynum. I never have.
And I'll say this, and you and I have had we disagree on Carmelo Anthony. I don't think he's a max guy. I think he's an excellent offensive player, and I think he brings a lot to the table. He doesn't make everybody better. But I will say this, my friend, if I have the opportunity to get Carmelo Anthony to go with and think about this for a minute, if they can follow, Guru Phil Jackson in the triangle, you could have Lamar Odom, Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony, and Derek Fisher on the floor together. That is a matchup nightmare for everybody, especially in a 7-game series. And you don't want to make that trade for the simple reason you don't want to give up on Andrew Bynum?
Yeah.
Please.
I'm glad you brought it. I think this is I don't know. I think this is kind of smoke and mirrors drummed up by the Denver Nuggets to kind of let the Knicks know that, hey, you don't have as much leverage as you think you do. Hey, we're getting offers from the Lakers. It's not a slam dunk for you guys. I don't believe the Bynum for Melo talk. I just don't. I think it's not even a rumor. It's an ugly rumor. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. The only way Melo, Pau Gasol, Odom, and Kobe would work is if David Stern would allow them to play with 2 basketballs on the floor.
Just two? Just two?
Yes. I mean, that's a completely different animal from Wade and James is Kobe and Melo. I just think Melo, like you said, he's a scorer, and that's pretty much it. He's a volume scorer. I mean, you're going to cut half his shots off, he's not going to be Carmelo Anthony. He's not going to, Kobe's going to shoot the ball. He's going to shoot the ball. He's not as selfless as Kobe as like a Wade or a James. And Melo, again, being a volume scorer, those two would never work together. So I think it was a ploy. It's some sort of ploy drummed up by the Nuggets to let the Knicks know, you guys think you have all the leverage in the world. You guys think you can kind of get over on us with an easy trade. You can't because we got the Lakers in the mix, but I don't buy it. I really don't.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That's why I said the only way, to me, it would work is if they all buy into the triangle and everybody's going to start giving up some shots. And,
exactly.
But here, and the thing about that is really the guy who would have to give would be Anthony. Because, the offense goes through Kobe. So Anthony's going to have to, take less than 25, 30, 50, 100 shots a night. And that's the one thing. If you're going to, and I totally buy what you're saying. That's just smoke and mirrors to make the Knicks up their offer and not offer, Patrick Ewing and Walt Frazier and all that other mess they're offering, which is a joke for Carmelo. But it's going to.
I think the Busher was in that trade.
There's no doubt. And I just think that I do believe that, to make something like that work before you even trade for Anthony, if you're the Lakers, you got to, Phil Jackson, Mitch Kupchak, and maybe even throw Kobe in the mix because, we got to keep the players involved these days. Have to talk to Carmelo Anthony and say, dude, it's a different vibe. This isn't what you're used to. You got to be able to be part of the team concept. And by the way, 24 is the franchise guy here.
Yeah, I do think the Lakers are going to turn it up. I think they get bored in the regular season. They hit kind of a skid last year in the regular season as well. They're an older team. They get rebuilt for the playoffs. They turn it up in the playoffs. I mean, they lost to a bunch of teams they have no business losing to, absolutely. But they did that last year as well. Yep. So, I mean, if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm not too worried.
The best quote was Phil Jackson after, I forget which game they lost, and someone asked him about it, and Phil Jackson looked up and said, "Is this the playoffs? Are we in the postseason? Is this the playoffs?" And so it's
he knows what it is. Yeah, yep.
Sure. I mean, I'm with you. The Lakers are bored. They're they're trying to get through the season. They don't care if they got home court. They could care less.
Right.
I mean, they just want to get through the year, get everybody healthy, get everybody jiving on the same page, make sure Ron Artest is medicated, and then they'll go play. And they'll probably win the damn thing again.
Exactly. The only reason I even picked Lakers to win the championship was because, and this is, I don't have to watch any film. I don't have to, break down anything. Phil Jackson wins championships in clusters of 3.
Yep.
Done. Case closed.
There's no doubt.
Case closed. This is it. So if my math is correct, he's going to do it again this year.
He's due one more. Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com. Always good rapping with you, brother. We'll catch you again next Monday.
Sounds good, Terry.
All right, see you, man. Sports 630 KIDO, K2AM.com.